Listening practice tips. First tip. Enjoy the story and get a general sense of the plot. Second tip. Focus on understanding every word and phrase. Try to visualize the scenes in your mind. Third tip. Pay attention to the pronunciation and intonation of the narrator. Fourth tip. Repeat after the narrator, trying to mimic the pronunciation and rhythm of the sentences.
Once upon a time, nestled deep within a forgotten forest, there lay a village shrouded in mystery and whispered legends. This was the village of Eldermoor, a place where the sun rarely broke through the thick canopy of ancient trees, casting long shadows over the cobblestone streets and weathered cottages. Eldermoor was a small village, home to a close-knit community of farmers, artisans, and traders. Despite its eerie atmosphere, the villagers lived in relative peace, bound together by their shared history and traditions. However, as the years passed, strange occurrences began to plague the village. Livestock disappeared, crops wilted overnight, and an unsettling silence fell over the once bustling streets. At the heart of Eldermoor stood the old church, its towering spire piercing the sky like a dark sentinel. The church had long been abandoned, its doors sealed shut and its windows boarded up. The villagers spoke of a curse that had befallen the church many generations ago, a curse that was never fully understood but always feared. One fateful night, a thick fog rolled in from the forest, blanketing Eldermoor in an impenetrable veil. The village seemed to hold its breath as the mist crept through the streets, muffling all sound and casting an otherworldly glow over everything it touched. It was on this night that the villagers' worst fears were realized. From the depths of the fog emerged a figure, cloaked in shadows and draped in tattered robes. It moved with an unnatural grace, its eyes glowing with an eerie, otherworldly light. The figure made its way to the church, and with a wave of its hand, the heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing the dark interior within. The villagers, drawn by an inexplicable force, gathered around the church, their eyes wide with terror and curiosity. The figure stepped inside, and as it did, the fog seemed to pulse and throb, as if alive with some malevolent energy. From within the church came a low, guttural chanting, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. Suddenly, the ground beneath the villagers' feet began to tremble, and a cold wind whipped through the streets, carrying with it the sound of unearthly wails. The villagers watched in horror as the figure raised its arms, and a blinding light erupted from the church, engulfing everything in its path. When the light faded and the fog dissipated, Eldermoor was forever changed. The villagers found themselves standing in a barren wasteland, their homes reduced to rubble and ash. The figure was gone, but its presence lingered, a dark stain on the soul of the village. Those who survived the night of the fog spoke of it in hushed tones, their eyes haunted by what they had witnessed. Eldermoor became a ghost village, a place where few dared to venture and even fewer returned. The legend of the horror village spread far and wide, a cautionary tale of a place where darkness had triumphed and hope had been extinguished. And so, Eldermoor stood as a grim reminder of the power of fear and the unknown, a village lost to time and forever enshrouded in the mists of horror.
Comprehension questions. Comment your answer. What were some of the strange occurrences that began to plague the village of Eldermoor? Livestock disappeared, crops wilted overnight, and an unsettling silence fell over the streets. What was the village's main landmark, and what was its significance? The main landmark was the old church, which had been abandoned and sealed shut due to a feared curse. Describe the figure that emerged from the fog. The figure was cloaked in shadows, draped in tattered robes, moved with unnatural grace, and had glowing, eerie eyes. What happened when the figure entered the church? The church doors creaked open, a low chanting was heard, the ground trembled, a cold wind blew through the village, and a blinding light erupted from the church, transforming the village into a barren wasteland. What became of Eldermoor after the night of the fog? Eldermoor became a ghost village, abandoned and feared, with few daring to venture there and even fewer returning. It stood as a grim reminder of the power of fear and the unknown.
Now it's vocabulary time. Canopy, the upper layer of trees in a forest, formed by the leaves and branches. Sentinel, a guard or watchman, often used metaphorically for something that stands watch. Malevolent, having or showing a wish to do evil to others. Wasteland, an area of land that is barren or desolate. Ominous, giving the impression that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen. Threatening,